Hi everyone. Today we're going to do an in focus video on one of our latest filter coffee releases from Yolanda Cabrera in Peru. It's the third year we've been working with coffees from the Valle Inca Association based in Cusco. We got to travel there in 2019 to meet with Jose Prudencio, who is the association's president, and visit various producers as well as cook with them in their lab based in Calca. And Yolanda's coffee was actually the first one that stood out to us as very, very distinct, and we learnt the reasons for that after delving a little bit deeper. This year again, the coffee is very, very distinct, and we'll go on to why that is when we discuss the processing of the coffee. So Yolanda is a producer who's been working in coffee all her life. She grew up around coffee, and about 32 years ago she inherited the family farm called Palmira. So Palmira is about a 10-hectare farm, 6 of which is planted with coffee, Caturra and Typica varieties, which are between sort of 6 and 10 years old. So it's been relatively recently renovated. The trees are really, really healthy. They're growing amidst corn and amidst passion fruit. And they're also growing under pacai shade trees. So it's a little bit more encouraging for biodiversity. Her farm is at a really high elevation, about 2,200 meters. And she grows Caturra and Typica variety coffee. These are separated out at harvest, which is around August, September time. And the Caturra cherries in this lot, after being manually selected, are then manually depulped, and they undergo quite an interesting processing method. So having partnered with Valle Inca for the last 3 years, Yolanda has seen an increase in her quality through their guidance and also their investment in her infrastructure. And we've seen the group expand from about 100 producers to double that in 2020, because of word of mouth and the good work they're doing. They're helping to pre-finance the farmers ahead of harvest time, investing in their infrastructure, as well as providing agronomical advice and tips on processing to try and elevate the quality. The coffee is fertilized with a homemade compost, and it's all completely organically grown. And around August, September time, they harvest the ripe coffee cherries. And then to process them, Yolanda's actually doing something quite unique. A lot of the producers in the area working with Valle Inca are experimenting with what they might be calling anaerobic fermentations, so sealing the mucilage-covered depulped coffee in a barrel with a sort of carboy, which prevents oxygen from entering the environment. But I don't really like that terminology. What I like about them encouraging the producers to try this is that they're given the tools to do a repeatable process, so they might be able to get the same kind of results year after year and have a bit more control over the processing. With Yolanda's coffee, once it's manually depulped, it's sealed into bags, and those bags are then held in a tank. This tank is fed with spring water, which acts as a coolant. So if it was left unchecked just out and you were to probe inside the bags, it can swing from 24 to 60 Celsius just because of the sort of rolling heat that gathers during that fermentation stage. So by putting it in this cooled tank, during the day the temperatures are kept more stable, and then at night they remove the sacks and it retains some of the warmth from the day. And that process takes about 38 hours. So after a long fermentation period in this chilled method, they are fully washing the coffee, and the water from that is then treated in wells, in sort of soak pits, before the coffee is put out to dry under parabolic dryers. So let's prepare a cup of Yolanda's coffee. I'm going to use 18 grams of coffee to 300 grams of water in a French press. The first thing that stands out with Yolanda's coffee is that it is aromatically really intense. There's loads of playful fruit tones, and it's bordering on sort of gummy sweets and cooked plums. It's really, really intense. It's really distinctive. And I do think it speaks a little bit about this extended sealed fermentation that it's undergone. It's a really, really sweet coffee. Loads of milk chocolate, loads of raisins, sort of that classic profile we've come to associate with the coffees we're buying in Cusco. But then there's also these really nice warm berry tones, cooked plums. The acidity is really integrated. It's not sharp. It's not like unripe fruit. It's just really, really round, which I think you get more with cooked berries and cooked fruits. And I think as well, the flavor does stand out from other coffees in our range. It's a little bit more playful, a little bit more ripe and bouncy. And the processing has definitely left a fingerprint on this cup, but I think in a really positive way. It doesn't make it unclean or divisive. It's still really, really clean, but it has got this playful element to it, which is really enjoyable. So that's Yolanda Cabrera's coffee from Umapata in Cusco region in Peru. We really love it. We're so glad that we've been able to secure it for a second year in a row, and we hope to buy it again next year and work more with the producers at Valle Inca. We really hope you enjoy it as well. It's definitely a bit of a staff favourite at the moment here. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.